This is Justin Scoop on Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. Take a look at SPX. Okay. There was a lot that happened today. Let's jump in first to the 3 minute, and then we'll take a look at some things on the daily. So we ended up gapping down really nicely and just continuing lower, trapping everybody who uh, was buying yesterday and all the bulls, and probably hit a lot of stops for the Bulls if or Bulls were down and they were just getting out. We came close to the low from Friday, and then we started to bounce. Uh, yeah, we just rallied really strongly out of there, taking out the open and having like you just kind of squint your eyes or kind of look big picture at the whole day. There were a lot of just kind of bull runs. Um, just a number of bull candles in a row. It really got going here and then continued, and then just these smaller moves. um there was just a lot of just continuing to push up where you just had kind of sustained, can't say that word tonight, sustained buying as we're going up here. Most of the time you had multiple bull candles in a row. There were obviously times where you didn't, um, but a good chunk of the day, there was sustained buying. Now let's contrast that with the selling that we had going on. So there was some of this, there was some of this, a lot less with that sustained selling um, for the first half of the day. Then we were just chopping sideways. So you kind of had a mix of bull and bear and bull and bear. And then this big thing came in later in the day. Obviously, overall, we're still bullish on the day. Had a really strong up day. So just kind of again squinting. There's a lot more pink, a lot more of the up than there was down, and even the times where we were going sideways. I'm going to delete a bunch of this because all of this was just sideways. Um, so really, there was really mainly 4 points that we were going down throughout the day, right at open. This kind of running into the 100 that we talked about yesterday's video, I think. Um, and then this one pulling back again, ignored the statted line. And then this one later in the day. There were a lot more time. Oh, and this one. There were a lot more times where we were going bullish, a lot more. A bull run into the close. This one, and I didn't put the color on. Where's the drawing tool? I didn't put any bull color on this because it's just two candles, but still, like that that candle is almost a bullish candle, right? So you can kind of say, okay, that's kind of another one. I'm glossing over a little bear close on that one candle. Anyway, a lot more bullish, a lot more up. The choppiness that we had late in the day was just exhaustion. Like this was just okay. What are we doing now? Like we're way up here. Like what's actually going to happen? It was just going to. I was ready for it to go and just close sideways. 66, 70. That's just where we're going to end up the day. But it's like, you know what? There's a chance this could keep moving up. I got into out of the money call. Still out here. It's like if this just wants to keep pushing up, I'll be in it. And then I was looking for a bear. I was looking for puts to be in, to get into something in case again it just broke down, like whichever way it's going to go. In case it's like I'll throw some absolute zero on bullish and bearish. And we started to go a little bit here. I know I'm drawing all over this. um it's like, okay, well, I needed to give me a bull candle, I needed to retest a little bit. And it was, what was it, around 235, something like that. And I was moving around with the computer and was looking at something else, got back to the chart. It's like, what just happened? I completely missed it. I was not in a put for that move, which was phenomenal. So let's get back into. I know I said we talked about the daily next, but let's go look at the this put, the 6650 put. This was incredibly cheap. The low down here was like point 0.3 point. I thought there was a point 0.2 in here. What was the low on that candle? 0.29. So you could have bought a couple of them for $100. Um, and this was the time. Like, okay, if we go sideways into the close, fine. I'll lose an R. I'll lose $100 on that. And I'm fairly certain that this wick is real because I looked at it on another options chart just to get down to the tick. Like I do it here, but I don't want to move I don't want to move this chart right now. But there's actual it looks like there's actual like orders or actual price printing at the wick. And then if you look at some of the other options are nearby, there's also these massive wicks. So who knows who got filled there? Probably market makers. Just a quick cash grab on anything like that. Nothing really stayed up here. Um, but there were clearest opportunities to get in or be in, not to really get in. There was no way to really know this was coming, other than to, you saw that happen. It's like quickly the very next candle, already have an order in for obviously much more than $1, and just flip it out and just kind of again absolute zero, flip it out. I was looking even like in order for this to get down to $1, you had to go much further out of the money. You had to go down to like the 6,600 or 6,625, and there were you had to be really quick to do it. I was not quick enough to get in like on this candle. I think I was actually seeing it on somewhere in these candles. I flip back to the charts like, oh, there's actually the movement that I was thinking I should be in and wasn't in yet. So anyway, that was a little bit of the move. You know what? Let's go back to this. I'm gonna go. So I have this set up as an option to have ticks. Oh, one just moved. The ticks. So if I go down to the ticks, you can see. Okay, this one doesn't have it. That was price move. No, that is the tick. Okay, so the ticks help you see what happened. So if we look at the very bottom, I don't normally look at this, but at the 237 and 238 time, there was a ton of printing prices way, way, way up, including all the way up here on this candle. There's upper wicks here up to the 55.8, on this candle up to 50, and it matches up with there's some volume here. There's on this one there's 345 contracts. On this one there's 244 contracts. And on this one there's 163 contracts. So there were transactions happening up here. However quickly and brief, just a matter of ticks in a matter of split seconds. That's the real challenge. It does look to me like this actually happened. Um, reminds me of the flash crash many, many, many years ago, and then recovered. Like this looks like the same sort of thing. That sort of flash crash on SPX shows up in the options, and then kind of recovers not entirely where it was, but I mean, the price didn't go back up to where it had been. So uh, anyway, this from here to here is the entire minute of 237. There was a lot of things happening during that time. A lot of reactions, a lot of quick trades, a lot of just news. So it was probably mostly market makers, not obviously not as many retail traders to be reacting to something, but any sort of AI things that are just honed in on what's happening social media wise and able to move very quickly and place trades and get out um, you know faster than many retail traders can do. So pretty phenomenal to see that. It's a lot easier to see on the ticks. This setup is with having just 5 days, 50 ticks, and obviously it's significantly different than seeing something like this where it's like, okay, yeah, hey, look, that's everything that happened in that minute. It's like, wait, is that really what happened in that minute? And then this is really what happened in that minute. and this is still the log scale. So, um, it's just like this went from this keeps jumping. This candle went from 0.77 as the low up to a high of 1866, and then this candle, the low is 8 and the high is 55 point no 55.8. It's like, did that really happen? So anyway, that's on the 1 minute. On the 3 minutes, even crazier. So anyway, let's go over to the daily. So we nearly made it down to Friday's low, and then we rallied. Uh, the low we had today. So let me get the drawing tool back out. What just happened? I clicked the wrong button. Hopefully everything's back to normal. Okay. So today's low, and I don't know what that color. There we go. So today's low and Friday's low, and this low on the rate decision day are all really about the same place. Um, I think that's really significant. I, I I'm still anticipating that we're going to have a bigger pullback, at least back down into the lower end of the channel. After that day, I don't know how we can. Um, Looking at where the moving averages are, looking at where this midline is on this uptrend channel, this one's in the right place. We had some resistance yesterday, and even more resistance at the same place today. Before this news thing came out and pushed us back down here, we were riding right at the high of the day. We were looking to get a close back above these moving averages, and it would be incredibly significant to have that back, because like, hey, this day we were below, this day we're below, this day we're almost back up, and then hey, look, we closed back above. So like three days you're below, 2 days you're below. um I can't see all of this over here. That's at least 3 days. I can't see the previous candle. I can, I mean, let's zoom out a little bit. How many days have we been below? Because I didn't really look at that when we were talking about things. Yeah, we've spent like three here. That's just chopping sideways. That's below, above, below, below, below. So that's only three there. Um, I'm talking below even just the five, like getting below the 21 here. That was much more significant. That was quite a while that we were below the 21. Each other time we've gotten below the 21, we've recovered like the next day. So I think that's what's really significant, right, with what's going on right now, is making it look like, even like this, we got below the 21, 1 2 3 4, we're back above it, and on the fifth day. We chopped around quite a bit more. uh there was Trying to make sense of what I was seeing here in terms of this day. I think it's this. I thought it looked similar. I just zoomed in too far and lost my train of thought. Let me do that again. Okay. I was thinking the way these candles moved here. Um, okay. So remember, we were selling off some. We retested. We got some more bearishness. We were clearly below this channel. Okay. So let me draw again. What I feel like we did on Friday, to me, looks similar to if you kind of squint these candles together, like a bigger bear move down like that. Okay. Size wise, kind of similar, to these two here. Um, so basically from retesting the channel to breaking down to this candle. Now a little bit of the difference is this one came down lower, but came back. This came into a previous low, which is kind of where we're at, but we've still been heading up. So that's one big difference. And then you had 1 2 candles that were closing below the 20, the five, 1, 2 closing below the 5, a third day that pushed back above the 5, and then a bigger gap down. If we do this, then I think we're somewhere into this sort of thing. We're going to have a bigger move, maybe Friday, maybe next week, a much bigger move down. Um, so let me kind of draw and figure out if I can explain it. I'm going to make this a little, I want to make this a little happen a little different. Okay. So we've got some bearishness, bigger bears, okay, bigger bears like that. And then we've got some bullishness that comes in with some strength here. So we've got some bull, bull. I think that's where we're at right now. So kind of bull, bull. I feel like that this is, I know we're in a different place in terms of where the channel's at. Um, we're in a different place in terms of where, we had already been pulling down quite a bit more. So part of me still thinks we're somewhere over here with the breakdown, but there wasn't as much bullishness that came back in. This isn't, that's not bullish. Like this is bullish here, but then it just immediately went back down. So, if you want to say that, okay, maybe this is a bigger bear. That was awful. I don't know. I think it's more so like this situation. I think we're more similar to that. All of these are great lessons to go back through and be like, okay, how did we move? What should we be anticipating? Where should we, you know, load up? What's going on here? I just still think it's really significant that we are below the 21 and we rejected it today. We did not get a close above it. Now, if we close above it, we get back above the 21 already tomorrow. That'd be 3 days below it. Um, that's it. If we get back above the 21, uh, that's kind of what we've been doing. So if there's some more strength that comes in tomorrow, great. Let's continue looking for bull trades. If we do that and then still have some weakness, like if it looks like something like this, where it's really not getting back above the 21, not holding, like if we get another upper wick, it could really be a bear flag. Like this could be somewhat of a bear flag. This was looking like a really strong bull engulfing candle, this smaller candle, engulfing this smaller candle. It was much stronger when it was a big lower wick. We were way up here, not quite a hammer. We kind of did that on this day. But the other piece of this, you can go into a lower time frame. Well, I'll just draw it here first. Um, this kind of looks like a shoulder, kind of wonky head, and then is this shoulder? You know, can we keep pushing back up? Can we get back up to here? Can we get back even with this? That was 6,700. We got close to that today, but not all the way up there. And then are we looking for another move down to make this a head and shoulders? I mean, if we do this, it's a really clean head and shoulders because you've got, this level, the 6550 basically works out as your neckline. Like there's not much argument to that being the neckline. Um, Obviously you had a little bit of a pre-shoulder or elbow, and then a shoulder, and then uh, head slanted to the right, and then this. I mean, we could, this could really already be the shoulder, and it's again slanted to the right. So the head slanted to the right shoulder is slanted to the right. Now we didn't going to do that. Well, I guess we're up here. Are we going to do another? Are we going to do a elbow? I mean, if we open here, oh, we did this already. Let me go down to a lower time frame. Let's go look at, oops, I need to turn off the drawing tool. Go and change this to an hourly. Let's go 2 hour. 2 hour. Okay, so I see it. I see elbow. Left shoulder. You got that better. Left shoulder. Head turn to the right. Head slant to the right. This isn't quite a shoulder because this is an elbow then, and that would take it out. Could be a double shoulder. We've had some like that. I mean, I'm calling it an elbow. I would think of it being smaller, but technically you have one, two left shoulders. You can have one, two right shoulder, and generally these go faster. Um, I don't know that I can say that generally they go faster. I think they're more anticipated. Um, but I think there's definitely a slant. There's definitely a quickness going on over here on the right side of things, the right side of the head, the right side of the shoulders. Um, it just seems like it's slanted that direction. I don't know that it'll go quicker, but this is absolutely the neck of whatever is going on here. So one question remains: is this actually going to go down? And if it does, how far is it going to go? A measured move would be basically, I'm going to keep using 65.50 just for some rough numbers. So 65.50 from 67, let's just call it 67.50. So that's 200 points. So 200 points would be 63.50. That would be down here. That would be a measured move of how high the head is above the neckline and how far the neckline is down to a measured move, like the anticipated amount that this is actually going to break down. So at this point, that's like my expectation. And I thought that was going to happen today. It did not. We started to, and then we recovered, and then might be S curving. If I go down to a smaller time, this was a 2 hour. If we go to a 1 hour, does anything clean up? Um, we obviously didn't hold this. This looks like an S curve that then gapped down, started to totally break down. It'd be nice to have that, I guess maybe a 15 minute. There. Nice strong bear candle. This kind of, when I was talking about that, actually, let me go back to sending this to the daily. Okay. Then we'll go back to our intraday chart and I'm going to go look at this at, let's try 30. Because I was looking at this. No, we need a 15. So I was talking to this yesterday. I was talking about this looking like the shape of a wheel, where you had kind of like your roundness of this, a donut shape, a wheel shape. It obviously breaks down, outside of this range. So in this range, it totally looks like an S curve. Okay. Then we did actually gap down and start to break down. And then it really bounced at the same place here. And so at this point now, it's like, okay, is it going to do a different S curve? Like nothing really fits this because it was so sharp. It's not round like this one is. It is. It's not. It's really just a different pattern. This was a great consolidation. It should break out. The strength of this breakdown, though, that's what has me concerned. Basically, today was bookended with a really strong bear candle and another really strong bear candle. And what's crazy is they're really at different places, you know? Like, what does that actually do? We hardly traded inside of what I just connected here. When I say bookends, there's one, two, three, four big bull candles inside of that, and it just walks up all day. So I'd be curious though, did we do something like that before? I know this is getting longer, but out of 15, do we have something like that? Do we have another day, another move? How far back can I go? 180 days. Okay. Let me go back to the 17th of September. That was this, right? Nope. Oh, I'm way off. Let's go back to the 17th, 25th, 17th. That was rate decision day. There aren't really sizable, I'm looking for bookend kind of days. Let's just do this. I'm looking for days, and I didn't obviously didn't do this to set things up before. Here's a good one. What's going on here? You have kind of the same place where you've got a nice big bear candle, another bear candle after a retest. Okay, like that. We spent most of the time outside of that range, and then we pretty much connected these parallel, So if you draw that and that, we were hardly inside of that, like one big bull day inside of that. Great if we can find some bookends in the same day. I don't know if there are going to be any. I like this one to here and then this low to here, but that's across multiple bear candles. What are the other dates? Just want to go back and look at some of these over here. Let's see. Let me look at March 28th. We got March yet? No, we're in July. Here's some good ones. Okay, so this was July 15th and 16th. Okay, so we had some sizable candles where you can basically draw this and draw this, and you hit a lot of bear candles, and we stayed in that range. That's a really good downtrending channel, a lot of choppiness, but it played out where it's following the channel really well. I guess that's kind of what I'm looking for. It's like, where are those bear moves? Here's a good one. So here to here and here, I guess the low to the low. Not as significant because it didn't close at that low. Here's another one. Open day, open to this day. So connecting opens. I'm still looking for one within the same day, kind of how we did today. I'm just looking for it to jump out at me. So I'm just skimming for candles. I know this is long. Thanks for sticking around if you're still here. Okay, we're going back. Yeah, we're in July, or we're in May. We were in July last I looked at the date. I'm still not seeing like a big bear candle start of the day and end of the day. And I may have missed it if there were any others. So I'm just looking to see, how did we do that? How did we move before? Here's the start of a day bear, end of the day bear. Not as big. I want two that are like about the same size. Okay, we're almost into March. Here's a good one. Okay, what day is this? This is April 4th. So that day to that, or that open to that close, we spent a good amount of time in between, not massive, but nice bookends on the day. And today's, it was the second to last 50-minute candle when that bearishness was coming through. So, and then March 28th was another day. Yeah. So nothing significant in terms of a massive candle happened that day. But a couple days later, I really did like, so something getting set up with the March 28th. Where did that go? So it was this day, March 28th. It was just kind of straight selling. And then it was the next couple days that were covered. And so then I was saying tomorrow possibly could be like the second. And if we jump into this, we look at, okay, so these days were that flag. And then we had some bear. Okay, so then it was on this day, a couple more days later on the further down move. This is where we hit that low. Volatility went crazy because we had these massive moves, massive buy up here. That was, this was the bottom on that massive pullback. I think we could be setting up for something like this though. Um, I can go back and look at Friday's candle to see, did it do this? Yeah, it kind of moved down in steps. I think more steps down, probably including something like this, and then shopping, consolidating, breakdown. I think something like this is where I was saying it. It kind of looks like if you squint and look at all of this as a single big bear candle, then you've got a lot of what the move was from from Friday, and then a breakdown, and then it tries to retest, and it keeps breaking down, and something like that is, I guess, what I'm reimagining as Friday. Let's go back and look at, hey, what was Friday looking like? If we can ever find it again. Where am I? September. Oh, it's there. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna squint this, and we're gonna look at. Okay, so it was a little bit off, but you know what I can do? I should be able to resize the drawing. I just have to go out to, or go back to the annotate. Let me see if I can resize this. It'll let me. Oh, because I drew it in pieces. Okay, let me see if I can draw it all. Kind of grab it all at once. Nice. Okay, fits a little better. Okay, this is what I'm trying to say about Friday. So we had a sell off consolidation. So the consolidation is off because this is the consolidation here. Okay, let me do a different color. What do we draw? Okay, so this is where things are similar. So we consolidated here, we broke down, consolidated again, broke down, retested, rolled, retest, down. So you can see we just had the consolidation a little bit higher, but we had multiple, retest here, retest here, retest here, retest here. So it's that same format, that same framework. This is going back to multiple days at the end of March. And I'm saying, hey, I think we kind of did all of that on Friday. There is another argument that like what we retested. No, I'm going to stick with what we just did yesterday, how we just went bullish, came up over here, and then how we just did this bookend thing. I think this looks very similar to kind of what formed as a flag pattern in the couple of days following that March, end of March, so like beginning of April, and then turned into, it turned out to be 3 days, 3 bull days, and then we had a massive move down, or it continued to capitulate further down. So I will put money on this. Obviously, I'm putting my own money on trading this, anticipating going lower. I can be totally wrong. Please make sure you understand what you're doing. Make sure you do your own assessment, looking at the charts for yourself. But I'm seeing a lot of similarities. And if we end up rallying out of here, so kind of the counter argument is, yeah, this looks like a massive double bottom. And just pumped something. Massive double bottom. And then is this a neckline? I don't know if that's supposed to be a neckline, but then like what's that? Is it a shoulder on a double? I don't know. I don't know what that's supposed to be if it's supposed to go up. So to me, it's not a very clean double bottom because today, instead of this candle, we should have had a really strong bull candle right here. And then a little bit of a retest and then continue on up. So if we get a big move, we get a close, it's going to be significant. If we get a close back above the midline, back above the 21, back above the 5. So we did technically close above the 20 yesterday. I was discounting that. Okay, good to know. I don't think I turned book calls at all. Yeah, so here's the 66.50 call. It got into a low of 1.5, 1.55. There were opportunities to be buying back at this low, knowing that, hey, that's a really interesting place. If we get down to back into this range here, maybe look to buy some calls and hold those. And I don't know that anybody knew for certain that it would rally so strong like this, that it would be worth buying and out of the money for $2, way out of the money. And then you'd ride that, and you get like a flag here, and then a breakout, and then a bigger flag, and then a breakout, and then a flag again, and a breakout, and then chop sideways, which would have given you plenty of opportunities to get out anywhere in here between like 20 and 30. So buy for two, sell for 25. That would be phenomenal. Buy for two and a stop at one, even that would have worked. Oh, I have the logs thing on, so further down. That worked. Um, could also go further out of the money, but once it starts going in your direction, then it's like, okay, where do you look for that pullback? Hey, here's a good price, right around $4. What's happening in here? Has it hit the four? So we actually trapped. So we got a little bit below four, maybe not trapped, but if somebody was buying at four and then it puts in a little bit lower, you're essentially trapping people thinking that it's going to go lower. So if we look at this, I'll go back to the 3 minute. I like having my 3 minute just like this. Okay. So that 66.50 call, we're at 66.14. We're 35 points out of the money. Right here, it's about four. Right here, it's about four. Right here, again, it's a little less than four. It actually pulled back a little bit. This was the most bearishness we had here. Five bear candles in a row. This was only three, and then a little break. Kind of this was five. This is pretty much five. And then five again. And then you got some consolidation here. Got the squeeze going, and then it has a bigger move. So this would have been a great opportunity to buy at four, stop down at three, and $100 risk. You're going to flip that out at 23, you know? So buy it, or 24. Let's go 24. So you're up 2 grand per contract. That would have been a great trade. That would have been a phenomenal trade. Um, and then you get out when it just goes sideways and starts just resting through here, and it's not having the continued move, and then you buy some more out of the money calls and puts, looking for any sort of move if it doesn't go sideways, and you got to go bearish, and you at least probably doubled that option too. So, well, doubled from your buy price, not doubled from the 0.5 it would have cost on what we talked about earlier. So anyway, I know that's a lot. I went over a whole lot more things, but that's kind of the thought process. I go through a lot of that is quicker going on in my head, trying to talk through it to make sense, walking through these things. It's interesting. So um, I think I'll leave it there, and we'll leave it to tomorrow's video to figure out, well, what's the market going to do on Wednesday, and we'll see what we could have set up. All right, hope this helps. This is Justin. Thanks.